All right, hey everyone, Jeff here at stopthepirates.blogspot.com. It is March 25th, 2016, and just want to do a little more kind of in-depth study into what the birth certificate is and how that kind of relates to maritime law and how we find ourselves in the situation that we have. The modern birth certificate began as a settlement certificate issued in England in 1837, and to officially record the poor or paupers, granting basic rights to benefits in exchange for recognition of their status as owned property, lawful slaves, also known as indentured servants or bondsmen. And keep track of all these words like bondsmen and bond slaves and chattel property and things. And if you go back and you look all this up in a legal dictionary, you'll kind of get a better understanding, overstanding, and understanding of how these words and terms are being used on us. So that's kind of our status, and I've gone into that before, where all hospitals in the United States and really all Western countries and any country really that has a and most do nowadays, except for the Islamic countries that they're mopping up right now, have kind of the same system of birth certificates and tax ID numbers or social security numbers to keep track of their chattel debt slaves. So a child's birthplace was its place of settlement, where its bond began. Thus, a settlement is equivalent to a voluntary slave plantation. So since 1933, and this varies in years, in different countries and things when all this came about. But if you study it, you'll look back and you see it in all countries like Australia and England and Canada and some of the other crown countries that are under the crown, which we are. They all started kind of around the same time. So it's required by statute that you have a birth certificate and a tax social security number. So and that's all mandated by the World Health Organization. And according to NAFTA and GATT, everyone has to have a social security number, and they're issued by the International Monetary Fund. So when you're born or given life, a record of live birth is created as prima facie evidence to your life. And it's basically your affidavit of life with details that are absolutely identify your living standing. It records your given name as a unique title. The autograph of your mother establishes the origin of your estate. An estate must come before a trust. So in common law, your mother and the state are now trustees in an express private trust. And you are the beneficiary. You are the holder in expectancy of your estate, which will descend to you as your right when you attain the age of majority, which in on our plantation is 18. And originally that trust would serve us well. Hang on a second. I don't know if you have the blower syndrome where you live, but if you live in a neighborhood, they come around and cut people's lawns, and it's like every day. It's why can't they just do it on one day? I don't know. But then you got to listen to the blowers, and they blow the dust and into the street, and it's supposed to make it look nice, but it just creates more dust for everyone to breathe. So I don't get it. Anyway, so where was I? So you attain the age of majority. You become an adult. So your parents are told that you must be registered, and they are under no such lawful obligation to do that. There is no law that says you have to do that, but the state is very insistent for reasons undisclosed. And according to ecclesiastical law, an estate can only be held in a trust by a man. But your mother was asked for her maiden name, and if you get out your birth certificate, you'll notice that it's It's your mother and her maiden name. In situating maternity, maternity is either legitimate or natural. The former is the condition of a mother who has given birth to legitimate children, whereas the latter is the condition of her who has given birth to illegitimate children. Maternity is unknown. Maternity is always certain, while the paternity is only presumed. And that's Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 1865 edition. Therefore, all naturally born children unknowingly make an accusation as to your illegitimacy. And your mother is listed, it says parent signature or other informant. So an informant, a person who informs or prefers an accusation against another. And that's Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition. The Status of Children Act, I won't go too deep into that. So anyway, your record of live birth and the registrar's evidence is used to create a birth certificate bond, publicly certifying that a property title is registered as a security for the national debt. It is like a warehouse receipt for the baby. The delivered goods, warehouse receipt, which is considered a document of title, may be a negotiable instrument used for financing with inventory as security. Makes sense, right? It's like a bail button, a pawn shop ticket, basically. At the same time, the bond converts your given name and your family name into a trade name. Only corporations have a last name. A legal person has been created by the state as a franchise child of the parent corporation. And I'll get into how this kind of relates to your UCC 1 financing statement. Because what has happened, this bond that's created is sold to the international bankers, the World Bank, Bank of International Settlements, created in 1931 by the Vatican as settler of the trust. Your weight in ounces on the record of live birth is to calculate your market value relative to gold. Your bond becomes a registered security, which the Treasury uses as surety for Treasury securities, such as Treasury bonds, notes, and bills. So basically, we've all been monetized, and what's interesting to know about that too is that we're actually all worth more dead than alive because these bonds have been insured. And if you become an unproductive slave, and this is like when the police pull you over, and this is all under Autotris and QSIP, and it's all programmed into a computer system, and they know exactly who you are and how many charges they can put on you if you're a productive slave or an unproductive slave, and maybe that gives them a justification to just go ahead and kill you, which is I think the police departments actually get a stipend or some kind of a reward when they do that, because the bond's matured, all the creditors are paid off, and they make a nice profit. And with soldiers too, the United States soldiers are insured like heavily, like $25 million is what I heard. So when they send them over for these wars, I mean, of course you want to send them into and then drop the bombs on them, give the bombs to the other. I don't want to get too deep into that, but it's all a scam. And that's why the state can legally take your baby, because it is a ward of the state. It's an investment, and if you threaten their investment before they reach, because you don't really reach your investment until you reach the age, until you start working, and you work for your 40 or 50 years, and then that's basically what they want. And that's a good investment for them, because they calculate how much, they've done the actuaries, how much you might probably earn over your working life, and then they take out loans against that you're going to pay into the collection company for the International Monetary Fund, which is the IRS in this country. So your legal person is a vessel. Just getting back to that, the state can seize your baby, which everybody knows, and there was just a thing on TV about that, some Indian baby or something, and people are freaked out. How can they do that? They just do it because it's their property. So the legal person is also a vessel in which the state has a security interest via the birth bond. When you reach full legal age, you become a master or a mister or a Mrs. or a Miss of that vessel. The living you has gone to sea, and under International Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction, which is the law of the sea, if you're missing for 7 years, you can be declared legally dead by their court. The same process is applied to ships and mariners lost at sea. And that's the Act of 1666, the Sustake Trust Act. Well, that originally started in England. And before that, really, it goes back to Roman times. So you voluntarily forfeit your estate. You may start work and register as a taxpayer. You may enroll on a voting register. Either way, you are transferring your estate to the legal person by registering as an accommodation party. If you decide not to register the legal person, you are a vessel lost at sea. After 7 years, you died without a will and testate, or someone is appointed to manage your estate trust. And that's what Congress is doing. So, but you can go back and basically take control of your trust, and that's why we talk about the UCC1 finance statement. And I guess that's going to do it. I'll get into more of this at a later date. I don't want to make this too long. We go to stopthepirates.blogspot.com. Thanks.